Welcome to Business Owner Therapy, the podcast that dives deep into the real stories of business owners. From managing daily operations to overcoming challenges, we're here to share the highs, lows, and lessons learned on the entrepreneurial journey. Whether you're just starting out or a seasoned pro, join us every week for insights, inspiration, and practical advice. Let's get to work.
Hold on, bro. Let's just start with a dab, bro.
All right.
What's up, Cam?
What's up, man? How you doing, Mark?
I'm
It's
good,
good to
bro.
see you. Always good to see you, bro.
Likewise, man.
Alrighty. We're going to reintroduce ourselves, but we're still rolling this. This is how it's going to go. But, okay. Welcome to an episode of Business Owner Therapy. My name is Kameron Bradley. I own and operate Fly Guy Media. We are a full-service media production company that does everything from photography to film. And today we have one of my favorite creatives and business owners that is in our city, and this is Mark Mayr.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate you.
Absolutely.
It's my first time in the studio, so I'm loving it, man. It's super cool what you've done with the place.
I appreciate it, man. I've been working really hard to make sure that we have a space where people can come here to create and do everything they need to, like start to finish when you get here. So, you have done some of the coolest stuff to me, but can you please tell me how Mark Mayr and Bonfire productions came about?
For sure. So, man, I started doing videos when I was super young. Like, I was like 7 years old when I picked up a camera for the first time, 6 or 7 years old. And, yeah, man, just started making like home movies and stuff. And in high school, I started slinging services on Craigslist and shooting for my friends around 71st High School. And, yeah, so just kind of started really young. Worked the local market here in Fayetteville, and then moved out to LA to try to get some bigger opportunities. And I started Bonfire Creative back in like originally back in like 2017ish, sometime around then. And yeah, so just been kind of rocking with that ever since.
Very cool, very cool. So with your company, what are some of the productions that you've got to work on in your career?
Yeah, so man, I've gotten to work on Justin Bieber's entire Justice album. Got to post-produce most of those videos and edit a lot of them. And I was Colin Tilley's assistant, as you know, for many years, just helping him navigate those productions. And, you know, we did J Balvin's Calora's album, so I got to edit a few joints off of there. And we did the WAP video and a couple other joints for Meg. And we got to do an IMAX movie for Halsey, which was a lot of fun.
Awesome.
That was my first time doing like a worldwide IMAX rollout. So I got to spend a lot of time at the IMAX headquarters out in California, and learned a lot through that process for sure. And so Bonfire, at least back then, was more of a, you know, a vehicle that I could process these things through on my side. By no means was it like the main production company responsible for the entire thing, but it was just like my brand for my portion of the work that I would do, you know. The story behind Bonfire is I grew up out here in Fayetteville. We had one of those above ground pools that was like in our backyard, and I was too little at the time, so I wasn't in the pool when this happened, but all my cousins and my older sisters and stuff were making a whirlpool, and the pool collapsed. Wow. And so it left a giant hole in the yard. And so we just turned it into a burn pit, and we would just have these huge bonfires all the time. And so I grew up spending a lot of time around a bonfire with my family, and that's where like stories would be shared. That's when, this is before cell phones, so this is where people would really connect, and there's no screens, and you know, nobody's watching American Idol being distracted. Right. Folks are like locked in with each other. You're hearing those stories, you know, you're up late. And so that energy of storytelling and connection is why I named my company Bonfire. And, you know, now we do it through media and cameras, and but still the essential roots of storytelling is it's the basis behind it.
That is actually really awesome. It's really funny because my fire pit in my backyard was an above ground pool as well.
Really?
And you know how you have to put the sand there in the middle of it whenever you put up the base. So it's really good to burn stuff. Nothing's going to grow there. So we surrounded it with rocks, and I have a fire pit that's huge in my backyard too.
Nice.
That's
really
I didn't
cool.
know that. It's wild. Yeah,
We've never talked about this.
Ever. Like ever. This is really, really funny that it's actually like, it's really hilarious. Yeah. But that is really cool. So like just having like that connection with storytelling, close family ties, and making home videos took you into a space of the highest levels of like really like production for a while. Like that is amazing. Like, and you're from Fayetteville, North Carolina. Like,
Yes, sir.
how was it going to LA, like moving to LA? Like what was going through your head whenever you like decided to do so?
Oh man, it was a dream come true. I mean, my first time going out there, I was on tour with Kelly Rush. Shout out to Kells. And it was back in these days, I was managing Kelly, I was managing ODC, and Sage the Gemini, who had Red Nose at the time, was on a tour, and so he had came through Fayetteville. I booked both the artists to open up for him at a club. I don't remember the club, but yeah, so we opened up for him. We ended up building a relationship with his manager and him and his team, and a little bit down the line, that manager is putting together a tour, and Kelly had left an impact on them, and they were like, yo, we want Kelly to join us on this tour. So Kelly called me, and he was like, man, I think I'm going to bring my dog. He was going to bring his dog on tour. And I was like, bro, you need to bring your other dog and let me film the entire tour for you guys. And he was like, oh, yeah. So that was actually my first time on a plane.
Wow.
That was my first time in LA. I was like 17 or 18 at the time. And so once I got out there and started to kind of see that the world's bigger than, you know, places I can drive to. You know, it didn't take me long. I think it was like less than a year later, I was moving out there and crashing on my buddy's couch and starting to figure it out. So at first it was definitely like a dream come true, because out here we're having to create something out of nothing. And if you just pick up a camera and start at, even more so back in those days, because now the market's a little bit more saturated. But you know, you were just one of those rare ones that has this ability and this, you know, and that feels good, but like, who do you have to learn from? And you know what I'm saying? And
I
so
get it 100%.
it was nice to like go to a place where you're immediately a small fish in a big pond, and there's so much game to soak up, and you're walking on the sets where people are using language you've never heard and doing real productions. Like, you know, we were on a production a couple days ago, and that's what a real production is. People have different roles. People, you know, there's departments, there's a chain of command, there's things are moving, you know, and it's not all on one person. And that, so I just kind of fell in love with like that energy and that vibe, and yeah, I just love production, man.
Absolutely, dude. I feel it, bro. I love production as well. Like, amazing production we were on a couple days ago. But one of the coolest things that I've noticed when working with you is that you just like dial in and just like, you can just cut off everything else, and you know exactly how to like direct and really just bring 100% like what you like are thinking like to life on camera. And I admire that. Like, it is, you're like, you can see it through like your storytelling ability, and a lot of people don't have that. Like, that is a key skill to just like being like successful in life in general. And it's wild that a lot of the best like CEOs for companies, they're not even like the smartest people in the world. They're just able to really just like tell a story and get the right people behind them to help build it. And it's like to believe it. And it's really awesome when you have that ability. So you said that you've been doing this since you were like very young, like 16, like you said 17, you got on a plane for the first time and you went on a tour. That is amazing. Who were some of the people, like you said, you didn't have a lot of people to look up to in this area, but who were some of the people that you kind of like got to look up to like in working when you got to LA?
For sure. You know, real quick before I get into that part, I do got to say, coming up in this area, Reggie Denton with Chief Tex, he inspired, like when I saw his website, this man was selling music video packages here locally in Fayetteville, and he had kind of like a small, medium, large package. And, you know, it was probably like at the time like 500,000, 15 or something. But like seeing the fact that someone was like making money, making music videos here really inspired me. Jeremiah McLam too, him doing productions around here. He was another. So like there were some folks to kind of look up to around here, but it was difficult for me at the time. I hadn't learned how to like navigate the networking yet. You know what I'm saying?
No, I get it.
I was good at it in terms of clients. But I was still learning how to kind of do like the B2B, if you will, or like the creative to creative like networking. So that's what LA taught me. And my second time going out to LA was to intern on a set for Mr. Happy, which was a short film directed by Colin Tilley, starring Chance the Rapper. And that is where I met Vinny Hobbs, Colin's editor. So Colin and Vinny were my like creative idols in terms of like,
very nice.
I looked up to the work they did. Before I ever connected, the reason I even connected with them is because I decided I wanted to focus on music videos.
Right.
And so as I started doing research into like whose work inspired me a lot, Colin's work really spoke to me.
Right.
Because it's specifically, I mean, his entire catalog is incredible.
Right.
But specifically, look at me now. When I saw that video and I saw how intricate everything was and how much was going on, it was so detailed. You could tell someone who really cares about the final product made this, you know?
Right.
And I wanted to, learn, how is that possible? How does someone do things at this level? And so that's why I went to intern for them. And so they were definitely like my, my North Star in terms of like what I was looking to achieve creatively. And stuff like that wouldn't have been possible without people like Brick. Super Duper Brick was his old name back in the day. Now he just goes by Brick. And, he was a friend of mine here in Fayetteville. We used to do videos together when we could out here. And he had family out in LA, so they moved out there. And when I needed a couch to crash on to go intern on that set, his mom opened the door and let me come stay with them for 10 days. And that's like a lot of time to let some random kid come stay in your house. So I'm really grateful for that.
Absolutely. Yeah. So moving out to LA, you literally just like really hopped off the plane and really just like made it happen. Like that is crazy inspiring and also like nerve-wracking. Like absolutely nerve-wracking. Like what was it like explaining that to your family that you're about to do that?
Oh man, yeah. They were sad. I had a girlfriend at the time. We were living together at my mom's house. And so I remember when I was driving away, like, watching my mom and my girlfriend just like crying. And, I was sad too. And it was definitely scary, but it was also like I had to do it. Like, you know what I'm saying? I drove out there, so it was a long drive.
Yeah.
And man, within the first month of me being there, I'm at Vinny's house and he's editing the Blessings video for Big Sean, Drake, and Kanye.
Yeah.
And so I'm watching this happen and I'm like, this is insane. And then he's like, yo, I need to take a nap. Like, you want to get in here and like flesh out Kanye's verse for me? And I'm like, what? So like in my mind, I'm just like, now, he's over here sleeping and I'm like editing Kanye West's verse on the Blessings video. And I'm like, this is insane. Like, I can't believe this is real right now, So I put together like a first pass and he came in and like did his thing on top of that, of course. And so I got to do some slight VFX on that as well. So, just using it from the very beginning, I could see that like the things I taught myself in After Effects here in Fayetteville were like paying off immediately as soon as I got there, because I had to be prepared to like do, VFX work if it was asked, or, it was a way for me to be like extra valuable.
Absolutely.
And, I mean, it was surreal, to answer your question. It was surreal for sure.
That is insanely awesome. So you're talking about like learning After Effects. So did you take any courses? Did you go to school, like any like formal education or anything?
So here's how I learned After Effects. There was excuse me. There was this thing called Blog TV.
Okay.
Back in the day.
Okay.
And it was like the original Twitch. It's where people would kind of like go live and do like different types of shows on Blog TV.
Yeah.
This was in like 2007-ish.
Okay.
And so I got on there because anything that had to do with video, YouTube had just came out. Like I had just launched a YouTube channel and like I'm just exploring the world of like online video. And there was this guy named Rusty that had this thing called Big 3 News.
Okay.
And so it was a Blog TV news show. And it was just a guy in his house, but like he wanted to be like a news anchor. So he would like act like he was a news anchor and he would really deliver some news. You know what I'm saying? He was doing his thing. So he asked me to make an intro for him. So at the time I was editing in Sony Vegas and I did the best I could making an intro in Sony Vegas. And I sent it to him and he started using it. One of his viewers saw it and was like, because he was kind of bragging on me like, yo, I had this like middle school kid make me this intro. He did it all in Sony Vegas. He's incredible, whoop-de-whoop. And this one of his viewers saw it. His name was Mark too. And he was like, oh, this kid would kill in After Effects. So me and him started talking. Yeah. And he put me on to After Effects where he sent me like a key for it at the time, which I didn't know came from a key gen at the time. Yeah. But so I started in After Effects in middle school, just learning from there. So I was editing in After Effects. That was my first Adobe product that I was using before I was in Premiere because I was still in Sony Vegas at the time, which was a big step up from Windows Movie Maker where I started. Anyway, so excuse me. So yeah, basically I started teaching myself After Effects in middle school primarily with Andrew Kramer's Video Copilot stuff. Videocopilot.net was like the best place to learn all the After Effects stuff. Very nice. And so I started learning all that. And now I did in high school, I was a part of an early college program where I got to go to FTCC. And that was my first time working on a Mac and like learning Photoshop and Illustrator and InDesign and things like that. So that was helpful. Yeah. But yeah, once I graduated high school, I did like one semester at community college and then I dropped out, moved to LA.
That is nuts. Like to have that like level of like just like skill transfer into very minimal like formal education. So whenever like my journey was completely different when it came to like becoming a creative, and it was just like I told myself that I want to start this and I want to see where it goes. Mm-hmm. And it was just like YouTube University. Mm-hmm. Like, and it was just like, okay, we're gonna do this, we're gonna see where it goes. And then like it wasn't until 3 years into my actual owning of my company that I went to film school. And it just like tiered, like leveled up like insanely, like from like just self-taught stuff. Mm-hmm. And like the fact that you did this with very, very minimal technology and you've like grown like that skill set is insane. Like just like when I was in middle school, I did just like program computers and things like that, but it was like someone like put me on to doing that. Like, but not too many people our age were like really like even like doing anything like that at that time at all. Mm-hmm. And it's just nuts that you being that good at what you did like at that age, like really just heighten like the trajectory for everything that you did. Like, and that's crazy. Like I wasn't even thinking about like really like filming or doing anything like that when I was like in middle school. Like seriously, like I had a camera, but it was just like, that's it. Like it was just hobby stuff. I never like just had understood that there was like an actual way that you can make money doing this. Like, and it's wild like that there is. But to transition into the next thing, what were some of like the difficult parts of like running a production business or like post-production business?
Yeah. I mean, first of all, thank you, bro. I appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Always showing mad love. And I mean, what are some of the challenges we face? I mean, definitely like consistency is difficult just because there's like with any business, there's slow times of the year and really busy times of the year, and both of those can be challenging for different reasons, right? Because it's like you got your slow ones, the money slows up, the projects slow up. That's a great time, as I'm learning now, like work on your passion projects in that time to keep the momentum going. But then in the busy times, you have the challenges of like trying to get sleep in the midst of multiple productions and like trying to not drop a ball because you're juggling all these different things. And so just kind of learning how to like put like bowling lanes up for yourself, if you will. I'm like, all right, like I can only manage this many productions effectively before quality starts to drop. So I'm not going to go beyond this, or when times get slow, here's my game plan for sustaining momentum. And you know what I'm saying? And you got to plan financially to be able to sustain yourself through the holidays or whatever season is slow for you. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And so I'd say that's the most challenging thing. And yeah, besides that, there's production, and the nature of production is challenging, right? Because you're doing something that's like, a lot of times it's non-replicatable. It's like on one day at a random location, and you got to pull all. It's like being a producer, being someone that's like putting a video together. Someone said it recently at an award show. It's like you're doing the impossible every single day as a career, right? You're managing creatives, you're managing timelines, you're on an impossible budget. Usually the budget and the timeline are impossible, and you're dealing with impossible people, from creatives to talent to like. So being able to make the money work no matter what, make the timeline, the day you have work no matter what, and get the people together under a shared vision no matter what, even when someone doesn't show up, even when somebody is going through something. Oh, this person was on the way, they caught a flat tire, they're late, they were super important. So I enjoy that process of like problem solving, because to kind of your point earlier, it's like none of that really matters. It's like when you know what the finished thing is, it's just a matter of like not getting caught up in the weeds of whatever issues getting thrown at you. That's there's going to be issues. Like your job's to solve them and just keep it rocking. And I would definitely attribute like a lot of the skill sets I gained to having incredible mentors, because being around somebody directing the biggest music videos in the game and seeing them run into a problem that would scare the crap out of me, and watching them just be like, no, it's all good, we'll just pivot and do this. And it's like, whoa, what did you don't even realize the significance of what you just did there. Like that could have ruined 90% of people that are trying to do this. And you just like skimmed past it and didn't let it affect the vibe and the energy of the whole thing. And that's when I learned like that's the most important thing, is like keeping a good energy will solve most of the problems. And if we let ourselves get like kind of weighed down by the heaviness of the things, or caught up in the issues, then everything else starts to go to shit so fast. And that's why like my bottom line, beyond like all the cameras can crash and all the people cannot show up and the budget can get cut in half. But if we just stay positive, we can shoot this shit on a spoon and make it work somehow. You know what I'm saying? And it's going to go a lot smoother than if we like freak out about, you know?
And then like having a good leader and being a good leader is extremely important when being a director on set. And a lot of people don't understand is like when you fall apart, your crew's going to fall apart. So like you're only as strong as your weakest link, and realistically, a lot of creatives like don't ever get the opportunity to work on like large sets. They end up working just by themselves a lot of the times, and it's really a different thing that you can like produce when you have like more than one creative like doing something. Just have like a room or like group of creatives. It's like you never know what you're gonna get. Like it's amazing, just in general, but. Were there any productions that you've ever been on that were just like, you would say were just like nightmare productions?
Oh, yeah, of course. Of course, bro. I'm not going to name drop, but man, I've been on sets like when I first got to LA and I was just PAing around, just like getting in where I fit in, Dude, I was on a set one time that lasted 26 hours straight.
Wow.
No sleep, skipping meals. Like when I say at the end of that, bro, I limped to my car and just died in my car. Woke up hours later, like still in the car with a parking ticket. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just, I mean, dude, there's some, no, you good.
Trees are attacking me.
Yeah, we'll fix it in post.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, there's a handful of them, man. I'd say most of the nightmare productions I've been on were typically caused by either an extremely difficult client, which is usually not like the artists themselves. It's like their manager that has something to prove or is going through something, or like just strange management on the client side, or like a director that is under a lot of stress.
Gotcha.
That is letting that flow through them and down the chain of command into, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So and either way, it's down to like poor leadership.
I get it.
Any nightmare set I've been on, it's either on the client side or on the production side. It's somebody on leadership being in over their head or having a bad week or something, and that energy just kind of like permeates through everybody on set, and then everything goes bad.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, on a more positive note, we don't have to talk about anything negative. What are some projects that you have like in the hole that you're excited about, that you're looking forward to working on?
Oh man, you know, I took a little creative hiatus for a few years.
Yeah.
And focused on some other things, and so during that time, I had started a documentary project.
Very nice.
That's been kind of backburnered for a little while as I was like dealing with some other stuff. But now that I'm stepping back into the creative world, it's coming up on the priority list of like I'm really excited to explore this documentary space.
Very nice.
Tell a story that means something to me and means something to the community, and just just learning new things, because a lot of my experience in production thus far is related to music videos and commercials.
Right.
I was actually just asked to speak at FSU, and they had me on a documentary panel at first, and I was like, I'll be honest, like I've made one doc, and it didn't come out.
Right.
And due to other reasons, it wasn't like it came out good, but for some other reasons, it didn't come out. So I didn't feel right speaking on documentaries because like I'm not that guy. So they put me on a more relevant panel. But I'm excited to explore and refine my documentary skills, because I love watching a good doc.
Same.
And I would I think I'd be very proud of myself if I made a good doc.
I like that. I respect that. I really do like that. Okay, that is really cool. So we're about to enter into a space where we see documentary Mark Mayr. That's really awesome. And if I did not address this, it would be absolutely negligent. Tell me about the 2-6 cipher.
Oh man, I mean, you made it. You tell me.
We made it. It's
yeah, man. I mean, if you're watching this and you're like, "What's a 2-6 cipher?" We're from Fayetteville, North Carolina,
Absolutely.
And basically, there's a lot of talent around here. And being from the music video space, growing up in a culture of music and hip hop, and I went to 71st, so every morning we would have a cipher like before class.
Yeah.
And I just love the energy, just the creativity, like you know what I'm saying. It's just so much fun, and so. Like 11 years ago, we made the first one, the first 2-6 cipher, and we got a bunch of artists from the area to come together and collaborate on a project, and it was a bunch of fun, and a bunch of really awesome people met for the first time who are locked into this day, and it's just something I've always been proud of creating. And so, having, now that I'm back home, it was also like a going away gift as I was preparing to go to California many moons ago. So now this is like kind of a coming home present, the new 2-6 cipher, and it's also like a it's showcasing all the things we've all learned collectively. I mean, we shot the first one on a homemade PVC dolly on T2Is, and we shot this one on Cam's arsenal of Sony's, and what I'm saying. We have dudes with steady cams, and we have a bunch of really experienced, seasoned video production professionals making something incredible together. So
absolutely.
So yeah, man, it's just cool to see how the city's grown, how the artists have grown, how the production guys have grown, and really just trying to showcase the talent in the city, and also kind of help control the narrative, or control's not the right word. Help redefine the narrative of the city, because Fayetteville can get a bad rap. Some people like to describe us as like the armpit of North Carolina. And, when you look at the crime rates and all these different stuff, like, people, I understand why people paint that picture of us.
Absolutely.
But ultimately, like, that's not healthy for us as a city to have that kind of view of ourselves. So I just want to help create a better perspective of our city. It's a beautiful place. There's, a lot of the problems in our city come from lack of resources and trauma from being the home of a military base. We're sending these people overseas fighting wars for us, and they're coming back home and they're living here, and a lot of times end up on the streets or end up with a what do you call it when you get kicked out of the military, a dishonorable discharge.
Yeah.
And then they're floating around Fayetteville, and it's like, I guess my point is, like, a lot of the problems that we face here, they're faced all over America, all over the world.
Absolutely.
And if we just keep kind of perpetuating the issue, we're not really solving the root of it. And I think part of the root of it is people need something here to be proud of. People need something here to look forward to. People need positive things to do, and ought to have some inspiring positive things to say about each other, so that we can lift the energy up, and then the material will follow.
Absolutely. I fully agree 100% with that. And that's another reason why whenever I moved back here a couple years back, I decided to stay here. There's a lot of people that told me, it's like, dude, you start your company in Raleigh, you'll do 10 times better. You started in Charlotte, 10 times better. And I said, you know what, man? I think I want to do it in Fayetteville.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the city deserves it. We're worth it. We're from here. And it's really like a testament to our environment. Like, when we did our 2-6 like cipher, we pulled that entire production together on favors and just like the pride that our city that we had. Like, it's like, okay, we didn't want anyone to be able to be like, oh, we can tell this was shot in Fayetteville, like, type situation. And like, bro, like, it's a Hollywood production that we put on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's amazing. It's one of my favorite things. I rewatch it all the time. Like, it's really, really cool. But I think we are coming to an end here, so we're going to do our last question. If there is any unsolicited piece of advice that you can give to anyone that wants to begin getting into this space, work in this space, or be a creative, what would you tell them?
I would say make sure you love it, because it's not a get rich quick scheme. It's it has its share of challenges, and no matter what you do in life, it should be something that you really love, something that's, at least to you, worth the struggles and worth the sacrifices it takes to be successful at anything. So make sure you love it. Invest in experiences. Put yourself around good people who do the kind of work that you want to do, so that you can learn from them and soak up game. That is such an essential, crucial part of all of it. If you stay kind of secluded, you're not going to be what you could be if you were to open yourself up and just learn from good people. And yeah, I mean, just keep going. Just work with what you have. You don't have to have the nicest camera. You don't have to have the nicest computer. When I started in After Effects, I used to press render when I went to school, go to school, come back, and it'd be on 75% because my computer could not handle the, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's super important that people just know, just work with what you have, and, don't sit around waiting. You can be practicing with your phone. You can be practicing with, developing your creativity as an inner thing. It's not an outer thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, you got to create and put stuff out there to practice, but ultimately, what you're really trying to develop is your ability to have a vision and execute it. And so, yeah, just have fun. And that's the most, just have fun doing it. Like, if you're not having fun doing it, then you're doing it wrong.
Absolutely.
And I'd say that's for anything you do, but especially creativity, because when someone has fun making something, it shows in the final project. So yeah, that's my main advice.
Appreciate it. I know we've been talking about doing this for a while, and we were just like, the other day, I thought it was funny. I was like, why haven't I gotten a Mark Mayr interview yet? And he was like, because you didn't really follow up. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna follow up. So I'm glad that we got to follow up.
Hell yeah,
and
bro.
do this interview. Thank you for another episode of Business Owner Therapy.
Thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely.
And thank y'all for watching.
Absolutely. And always remember, go further, be better, and always keep improving.
Yes, sir.
Thank you guys. That's a wrap.
Cool, dude.
That was cool. That was
man.
really just a conversation.